It's been about a year since the mascot horror game Indigo Park was released. This was an indie game created by YouTuber and friend of the show Unique Geese, clearly after being inspired by the many games in the genre we had seen beforehand. Unique Geese's game development journey started when they had the idea to recreate the game Garten of Banban with no experience in just a week. This was a very successful experiment, becoming their most viewed video, and the game receiving lots of flowers from the broader indie horror community. Indigo Park is Unique Geese's first attempt at an original property with its own identity, and this game too was unbelievably successful. The trailers and music for the game went on to become Unique Geese's most viewed videos, the game peaked at over 2,000 concurrent players, and most recently the IP received its own booth at MomoCon. Indigo Park managed to immediately become a household name. But was it actually good? Was this a case of pure slop taking off, or does it have something to offer? Before we get into the future of Indigo Park, I'm just going to give my thoughts on the game. The start of this game is simple, but honestly pretty perfect for what it's trying to set up, because it almost immediately introduces you to Rambly Raccoon, your virtual tour guide. And Rambly is most definitely the primary reason this game is so beloved, and he does perfectly reflect most of what shows this game's potential. Rambly is an excellent mascot horror character that's cute and fun to follow, but most notably his animations are incredible. He's portrayed in such a stylistic way, and it instantly shows the player that this game has real effort put into it. This isn't going to be a run-of-the-mill mascot horror title, there's some genuine heart and soul being put into the project. This game honestly feels magical. It's a surreal experience to enter the park for the first time. It truly feels like this was once a place full of joy and wonder that's caved into itself and became dark and decrepit, but still carries a level of mystique. All the buildings and locations feel like an actual park, and it really makes you feel like a kid again, exploring the different areas of the park. There's just something so beautiful about the experience. The character work in this game is a standout in mascot horror. The way the game introduces you to its titular cast in a natural way is so smart, and it's very charming. Meeting all the characters in this way is genuinely fun, and it's exciting to get to know the cast in a way that people would have in-universe. The characters are unique, whilst also having a fair amount of cliches. I'm a big fan of this sequence. I think it makes Indigo Park stand out as being distinct and a special mascot horror game. But while I'm mostly giving compliments, this game is very much not perfect. I think the sequence with the lion is pretty mediocre and should have been executed entirely differently. The sound design is pretty good and does make you feel like you're in danger, but I feel like you should actually be in danger. At this point in the game, there's no way to lose, and this should have been what changes that, but it doesn't. It's essentially just a stroll while things around you happen. It also ends in a weird way. Your little watch device makes an ear-piercing high-pitched noise that scares the lion away, but it kinda just looks like he gives up and runs off. But the chase sequence in Indigo Park honestly might be one of the best in mascot horror, and achieves a lot despite some slight clunkiness. It's shockingly dynamic with a lot of twists and turns, and it's really exciting to bounce up and fall down the different ledges. The music isn't necessarily horror-like, but it still does a pretty good job at building tension during the sequence, and it's just a banger on its own. This is a quality chase sequence. And the end of the chapter is definitely what makes Rambly such a lovable character. He opens up to you about how he's been trying to make your experience up to this point at least representative of a regular trip to the park. It's adorable how Rambly genuinely just wants to provide people a fun time at the park, but it's been left abandoned for years and everything has just fallen apart. The game ends with you agreeing to help Rambly fix up the park, which is an excellent way to conclude a first chapter and open up the door to the future of the series. With all that being said, Indigo Park is not perfect. It's occasionally clunky, and in a lot of ways you can tell it's a first major project. The puzzles, or should I say puzzle, is lame and too mascot horror-y. The lion sequence is a major part of the game, and it's basically a big ball of nothing. And there's just not enough meat to the gameplay. It's a very simplistic game. But with that being said, the charm is just off the charts. There's an arcade cabinet with a little original game with gorgeous graphics, and it's adorable. There are a bunch of collectibles that all have descriptions read out by Rambly, and they're pretty funny. The game ends with a song from Rambly, which pretty much inspired me to make a whole video on the subject, and it's cute and legitimately a banger. This is clearly a game made out of love for the concept of mascot horror, a subgenre that has had a very negative reputation for years now. This is a project made by passionate, good-hearted people that truly just want to make something cool, and that's why it's so exciting that it actually became very successful. This is a mascot horror game that deserves the recognition and love it has received, because it's obviously a sincere passion project. I think Indigo Park Chapter 1 is about a 7 out of 10, but the passion oozing out of it makes me like it even more than that. But what does Indigo Park's future look like? Well, as I said, it's been doing pretty well. It just had its own booth at a major convention. But what I haven't mentioned is the Kickstarter. After releasing Chapter 1 for free, Unique Geese launched a Kickstarter to make Chapter 2 a real thing, and to make it as big and as good as it could possibly be. The goal was set to $50,000, which is a pretty hefty chunk of change, and would definitely help make Chapter 2 the best it could be. But the Kickstarter ended up raising $292,000. I cannot stress how absolutely insane that is. Hollow Knight earned less than 60,000 Australian dollars, Baldi's Basics earned just over 60,000, FNAF earned an impressive 0. Indigo Park raising as much money as it did just goes to show the potential people see in it, and it means we're in for something good. It would be really hard to fumble a game after raising over $250,000, so I'm definitely hoping that doesn't happen. And now, fast forward to a matter of weeks ago, we got a brand new teaser for Chapter 2 of Indigo Park. And let me say, these environments look stunning. The colors are dark but vibrant and make the areas seem so lively. The general quality of the graphics and the assets used are just a league above the first chapter. Obviously, a pretty look doesn't amount to a good game, but this game does look really nice. And at the end of the teaser, we get a look at Finley's updated model, which just looks so sick. Comparing it to the original model in Chapter 1 is like night and day. I am so excited to see how this character is used and to see it in action. Lastly, we got some Indigo Park analog horror. Not really, but there is this video that's meant to be a dad recording a show for his daughter on their camcorder, and it's a show called Molly Ahoy on the Indigo channel. This is an absolutely stunning and beautiful Indigo Park cartoon that just looks so goddamn good. The animation is incredible, and the little theme song makes this feel like an actual forgotten kids cartoon. Needless to say, I find myself being very optimistic for the future of Indigo Park. You can see the amount of effort being put in with just the 2 teasers we've gotten. There's been a sincere effort in making the environments more interesting and creative, Finley's model is simply so high quality, and this whole cartoon that was made is beyond impressive. The team behind Indigo Park clearly wants to make something great, and I fully believe that they will.